Kwaniriza nnyo ku UBC TV nga tukutuusaako ebifudde mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo wetwogerera ennaku z'omwezi ziri 3 ezakeekutula ku mwaka 2023 nga omwezi tukyali mu gusooka ogwa January. Nze Marion Nakitene ne munange Yusufu Ssenyomo wali ku lulimi olw'obubonero kati katusooke tulabe ebisinze ku binaabyo nkomewo nabyo mu bujjuvu toseguka. Ubc Leero President Museveni alabudde ab'ekibiina kya UN okweyingiza mu bya Uganda ate bakiggala okugwa ebigezo kiva ku nkola etamatiza ate bo aba FDC balonze eratu okubakwatira bendera okuddamu okulonda esserere ne poliisi erabudde abazadde ku kibba baana mu ggwanga. Nzira munate okukwaniriza ku UBC TV tegeza tanatega UBC TV nti Marion Nakitene ne Yusufu Ssenyomo wali ku lulimi olw'obubonero bakalidde dda okutuusaako ebifudde mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo era kino kye kitundu ekisooka. Kankitandike ne gavumenti eyanukudde ku by'okulinnyirira eddembe ly'obuntu nga bwe kyalabikira mu alipoota yonna ku ddembe ly'obuntu eya International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Omumyuka wa ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti Jackson Kafunzi ayanukudde ku nsonga y'okuwanika abantu ku kalabba okutulugunya abakazi okulinnyirira eddembe ly'obuntu nga bwe byalagibwa mu kakiiko k'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte ak'eddembe ly'obuntu 2020 era katubifune.
Uganda yawaya alipoota mu mwaka gwa 2020 okunnyonnyola ku mbeera y'eddembe ly'obuntu nga bweyimiridde nga bwekakatibwako buli luvannyuma lwa myaka 2 wabula ab'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte baagala Uganda ennyonnyole ku nsonga z'okulinnyirira eddembe ly'obuntu ezize zoogerwako.
Provides for the use of reasonable force and the circumstances are provided for under the Criminal Procedure Code Act Chapter 116 or 116. The Police Act Chapter 303 and the Uganda Police Act, the Police Human Rights Policy and Standards Operations Procedures SOPs. Our leadership has condemned the use of excessive force and directed the Forces Human Rights and Legal Directorate to ensure that every police officer accused of using excessive force towards civilians is charged in a civil and criminal courts where the evidence is available and establishes the charge.
Banyonyodde ne ku nsonga y'okuwanika abasibe ku kalabba.
Yasalewo ddala omusango guno akuwa kalabba oba akusiba emyaka ye gy'anaabalabye nga gye gijaamu.
Bongedde n'okunnyonnyola ku nsonga y'okuyimiriza oba okuggala ebibiina bye bwannakyewa ebimu.
Financial Intelligence Authority ebitongole ebigoberera ssente ezijja mu ggwanga n'ezifuluma abo basobola okunoonyereza ne bababuulira bwe kiba nga ddala kituufu oba nedda nti ebitongole ebyannakyewa bikukusa ssente.
Omuweereza UBC Leero ye munnakibiina kya Forum for Democratic Change Emmanuel Elato akwatidde ekibiina Bendera mu kuddamu okulonda omubaka mu Paalamenti anaakiikirira abantu b'Esserere. Okulonda kwakubaawo nga 23 omwezi ogujja ogwokubiri era Pulezidenti wa FDC Patrick Oboya Mulyat agambye nti Sserere musingi munene nnyo mu FDC era nga akalulu bakayiga n'essuubi ddene ddala era nga bakakawangula katubirabe.
Ekibinja ky'abannakibiina kya Forum for Democratic Change okuva mu kitundu ky'Esserere era mu disitulikiti emu bagenyiwaddeko ku kitebe ky'ekibiina. Bano kubaddeko Sipiika wa disitulikiti Henry Pio, ssentebe w'ekibiina mu disitulikiti David Otala, Ssabakunzi mu kitundu ekyo Ekuru Joseph nga bawerekeddeko Emmanuel Elato ayagala okwesimbawo okuvuganya okukiikirira abantu b'ekitundu ekyo mu Paalamenti. Elato awanduddwako eddusu akwatira FDC Bendera. Abakulembeze mu kibiina bakumuwerekerako nga 9 February okwewandiisa.
Membership card of the FDC as recognition of the fact that you are part of us now going forward.
In the same vukutivu mbyobufuzi mumulabidde ddala nti asaana omulimu agusobola bulungi nnyo. Akarutu kagenda mu ngati bwe tubadde tugenda mu bululu obulala bwonna. Uganda bannange mubeere bagumu, buli kalulu akajja tulina okukabeeramu kubanga buno bwe budde bwe tufuna okugenda mu balonzi ne tubabuulira ensonga ezikwata ku ggwanga lino.
President wa FDC Patrick Oboya Mulyat eyeegwanyiza ekifo amwogeddeko ng'omuntu obuvunaanyizibwa mu kitundu.
We know Emmanuel Elato as a seasoned politician, an outstanding citizen of good character, who has the capabilities of transformative legislation in the National Assembly.
Elato yavuganyaako mu kulonda kwa 2021 era nga ye agamba nti Sserere yeetaaga omuntu omuvumu era nga ye essira agenda kuliteeka ku by'enguudo ebyenjigiriza n'ebyobulamu.
To rescue the people of Sserere from such challenges, we need a good tarmac road, we need good schools. The education sector is limping.
Okulonda kw'omubaka akiikirira ab'Esserere kulinda okuddibwamu oluvannyuma lw'omubaka eyali abakiikirira Bishop Okabe okufiira mu kabenje mu Desemba w'omwaka ogwedde. Ndi Nafuka Farida ne Joel Vubya.
Bannaffe ate bo abakulembeze ba Division B mu munisipaali y'Entebbe baagala bannyonnyolwe ani yawa olukusa kampuni okutandika okuyiikula malamu ng'ate kyekimu ku by'obugagga bwa munisipaali eno. Bano bagamba nti kubeera kubayisaamu lugaayo bano era bawaliziddwa okuyimiriza mbagirawo omulimu ogw'okuyiikula malamu ku kyalo Bunonko Missouri mu luka gw'ekigungo okutuusa nga bategedde ani yawa kampuni ya Tough Gong Holdings olukusa nga Division temanye era nga Sula Kagugube yabaddewo nga bino bigenda maaso.
Ba Division binga bakulembeddwamu Richard Ssekyondo ssentebe w'eggombola ne bakansala kakiiko k'ebyenguudo saaka abakulembeze b'oku byalo bakedde kugumba mu kifo awayiikulwa Malamu e Bunonko Missouri okulemesa omulimu guno okugenda mu maaso.
Wano bali mu kusima luguudo oluyitibwa Downton Road lusangibwa Bunonko Missouri nga twali tulowooza tusobola okuggyako Malamu ate ne tulushepinga abantu basobola okubanga bayitawo okusobola okugenda eri wansi.
Kino kiswazibwa nga Malamu bamutwala butwazi. Era nze ndaba nga tulina bukulembeze bamafia bannaffe nga bali mu bukulembeze tulina abo nga bo bajja kumalawo bumazi bye basangawo.
We batuukidde mu kifo kino basanze ebimotoka biweetiye saako bibuldoza wabula nga ababivuga bataddeko ddaka kokola tondeka nyuma ekibaleetedde n'okulowooza nti waliwo eyabatemezzaako. Wano babadde baagala abakozi ba kampuni ya Tough Gong Holdings Uganda okubannyonnyola wa gye bajja olukusa oluyiikuula Malamu nga abavunaanyizibwa tebalinaako kye bamanyi.
Tetugenda kukkaanya nabo kugenda oba bakulaganya na municipal council nga tebaziise kinnya kino. First of all, kyabulabe eri abantu, kyabulabe eri ensolo, kisobola okuleeta obulabe bonna eddakiika yonna.
Wabula abakulu kibabuuseeko omu ku bakansala Mutebi Nyansi yossaako ssentebe w'ekyalo Matiya Nkalubo bwe bategeezezza nga bwe baali emabega wa ddiiru ey'okuleeta abasema Malamu ono wabula ate ne babeefuulira ne basalawo okukolagana n'abakulu ku municipal.
Kampuni eno yajjanga enoonya Malamu netuukirako nze ne chairman w'ekyalo kino n'omuwa omukulu buloke yabaleeta.
Ffe tulowooza nti ebyobugagga ebiri mu kitundu ekyo bye bikulaakulanya ekitundu.
Kino kitabudde abakulembeze ba Division B bwe batyo kwe kuyimiriza omulimu gw'okuyiikuula mala mu mbagirawo okutuusa nga kanse babuulidde lwaki ekola ebintu awatali kubeebuuzaako.
Era ngenda kuwandika ebbaluwa mu butongole olwaleero giwa bekikwatako bonna n'abakulira nneeke mbategeeze ku kigenda mu maaso wano. Ebyuma byabwe babisengule babijjewo babitwala okutuusa nga waliwo okutuula ne tukkiriziganya ku nteekateeka ne bwe tulina okukola ekintu kino. Atolwedde ne mmala mwagenzi tulina okutuula tumukkaanyeeko.
Okuyimiriza okwo nze yakuyimiriza si Division B. Saagala abantu beebuzaabuza ne bakola ebintu just bampaani oba byakola katemba.
Wabula wano meya w'ekibuga ky'Entebbe Fabrice Lulinda aliko byatangazza ku bigenda mu maaso n'abo tula n'ekyama nga bw'alina n'ebbaluwa eyawandiikibwa Division B ng'ewa abantu bano olukusa okuyiikuula maalamu.
Nandisabye aba Division balekera okubuzaabuza abantu ebintu babikole mu mateeka babikole mu bulungi okulaba nti emirimu egikolebwa ate tebagiyitamu okukola ebintu mu bukujjukujju. Ebbaluwa eno gye tulina wano ekulagira ddala nti permission be bali bamuwadde nti bano bakole ki basime maram nga bagoberera guidelines za engineer.
Nze Sula Kagugube wane Entebbe.
Ate Entebbe nga tuvuddeyo ye President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ategeezezza nga eggwanga Uganda bwe litajja kutambulira ku ntoli za kibiina ky'amawanga amagatte United Nations UN ko n'okubakkiriza okwenyigira mu nsonga za Uganda naddala mu nkola y'emirimu. Museveni akakasiza nti UN ne bweba terina buyambi bwe wa Uganda esobola okweyimirizaawo. President Museveni okwogera bino abadde aggulawo olukuŋŋaana olw'abalamuzi olw'omulundi ogwa 24 olutudde wano mu Kampala. Katobefune.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Capote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Capote deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Capote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Okay, so these receipts, okay, plus this one equals,
Keeping up with your transaction history the old way.
1,000. Okay, I got this. I don't. Okay, maybe if I can just...
Keeping up with your transaction history with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to keep an eye on your transaction history. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
Happiness comes to us in many places.
It's in knowing the mosquito net keeps our children healthy. The wife having the support of her husband. It's in deciding together when to have a baby. And for some, focusing on what's important right now. So what's your happiness? Make the right health decisions to ensure happiness for you and your family.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that a second round of the house-to-house polio immunization campaign will take place from Friday, the 20th of January to Monday, the 30th of January 2023 in the following 4 districts that were affected by the Ebola outbreak: Kasanda, Mubende, Mukono, and Wakiso. During this house-to-house polio immunization campaign, health workers will come to your homes, workplaces, schools, daycare centers, places of worship, and other community gatherings and immunize all your children below 5 years of age. Please cooperate with the health workers and give them access to your homes to vaccinate all your children aged 5 years and below against polio. It is important to note that this house-to-house polio immunization campaign does not replace routine immunization. The polio vaccine is safe, effective, and free.
Parents and guardians, please ensure that all your children below 5 years of age are immunized against polio during the second round of the polio immunization campaign from Friday 20th of January to Monday 30th of January 2023 in the following 4 districts: Kasanda, Mubende, Mukono, and Wakiso. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, and partners.
Butereevu webale kubanga otambula naffe kino kitundu kya kubiri ndowooza tujja kudda ku mboozi yaffe eri eya Pulezidenti Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ategeezezza ng'eggwanga Uganda bwe litajja kutambulira ku ntoli za kibiina ky'amawanga amagatte ki United Nations UN ko n'okubakkiriza okwenyigira mu nsonga za Uganda naddala mu nkola y'emirimu. Museveni akakasizza nti UN ne bweba terina buyambi bwewa Uganda esobola okweyimirizaawo. Pulezidenti Museveni okwogera bino abadde aggulawo olukuŋŋaana lw'abalamuzi olw'omulundi ogw'abiri olutudde wano mu Kampala.
Abalamuzi b'ekkooti ensukkulumu, kkooti enkulu ejulirwamu wamu n'abawandiisi ba kkooti zino abasoba mu 100 beetabye mu lukuŋŋaana mwe bagenda okubaganyiza ebirowoozo mu kutambuza emirimu gyabwe. Olukuŋŋaana n'olw'omulundi ogw'abiri luguddwawo omukulembeze w'eggwanga Yoweri Kaguta Museveni mu Kampala.
I declare the conference opened.
Pulezidenti Museveni akinogaanyiza nga Uganda bw'eteetaaga kwesigama ku buyambi okuva mu kibiina ky'amawanga amagatte okubaako weetuuka mu ntambuza y'emirimu gyayo.
Because this is the problem of these other countries, the ones which are guarded by the UN, which I consider an insult. To be guarded by the UN as if we are imbeciles. I can't be guarded by the UN. UN will never come here in Uganda to guard us. It's an insult. We can defend ourselves. Money or no money. If you want to challenge me that you, Museveni, you are just talking, I can tell you that I have been leading an army for the last 50 years, from 1971. When you say for Lassa, it was an army, it could kill you. In case you are not sure, this UPDF, you see them, they have no houses. They have not been having houses. They have been staying in these grass huts, what they call Mama Ingia Pore. So, I have been leading an army for the last 50 years, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 10, 50.
Museveni yagumizza obwetaavu bw'okwagala ensi yattu Uganda wamu n'okwetanira enkyukakyuka mu byenfuna kyagamba nti kyakuyamba eggwanga Uganda wamu n'amawanga amalala okugenda mu maaso.
Number 1, prosperity for all, through education for all, but also through through production of goods and services. Number 2, strategic security for Africa. And number 3, these are achievable because the people we are talking about are either similar or linked. But in order to achieve this, we evolved 4 principles. Because if you produce goods and services, the question is who buys them? If you produce and nobody buys, then you cannot proceed. So that's why we say principle number 1 is patriotism. You must love Uganda. You must know that Uganda is more important than your tribal groups.
Saabalamuzi Alfonso Bunyidolo alaze obwetaavu okwongeza ku mbalira y'essiga eddamuzi okusobola okutumbula ku mpeereza yaalyo.
We intend to decentralize the Inspectorate of Courts, recruitment and deployment of more judicial and non-judicial officers, and providing them with modern and adequate tools of work. We have a fast-rising population. The number of judicial officers serving the people of Uganda must accordingly also rise. Strengthening the Judicial Training Institute to offer up-to-date capacity building and refresher training to the judicial and non-judicial staff. And in all these things, Your Excellency, for us to achieve them, there must be corresponding budgetary provisions.
Wabula mu kwanukula, President Museveni ategeezezza ng'obwenkanya butayinza kufunika lwa nsonga ya nsimbi yokka wabula kitwaliramu n'ebirala.
So it is just a question of planning, not mixing it up with the ideology. Because if the ideology is no money, no justice, then I don't agree. Because some of the countries don't have money at all. Even they are much worse off than we.
Saabalamuzi Dolo era n'asuubiza Abannayuganda empeereza y'omugundu mu mwaka gwa 2023.
You remember we've had conversation about bail. I have issued rules and practice directions about a number of things which you'll read from this presentation, including how the courts of law can handle the issue of bail, balancing the need to keep a suspect away from the public, but also this under the greater constitutional provision that until you've been tried under proper due process and you've been found guilty, you're presumed innocent.
Ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti Kirewa Kiwanuka, Prime Minister avunaanyizibwa ku nsonga za ssemateeka Norbert Mao alaze obwetaavu bw'okwongera ku bakozi mu ofiisi ya ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti ssaako n'eya ssaabawolereza wa gavumenti.
However, there are 102 courts that do not have state attorneys currently, and the backlog is piling. Let us ensure we do not lose the gains of the expanded judiciary. As a government and a ministry, we are committed to work together with the judiciary. We are committed to provide the necessary support to the judiciary deserves to enhance access to justice for all Ugandans.
Omukolo guno gwetabiddwako Ssaabalamuzi w'eggwanga lya South Africa, amyuka Ssaabalamuzi Richard Buteera, abalamuzi okuva mu South Africa ne Ghana n'abalala. Olukungaana lw'abalamuzi olw'omulundi gwa 24 lutambulira ku mulamwa ogw'enteeka y'enkyukakyuka mu ssiga eddamuzi okutuusa obwenkanya eri Bannayuganda. Nze Rebecca Nantongo ne Namamonde Deborah abakusaki.
Mutereevu UBC tukyagenda mu maaso ate yo poliisi erabudde bannansi ku kibba baana ekikyasa ensangi zino. Omwogezi wa poliisi mu ggwanga Fred Enanga awadde abazadde amagezi era n'abawa ebyo ebirina okugobererwa okulaba ng'abaana baabwe tebafuna buzibu obwanjawulo. Omusasi waffe abaddeyo ng'ayogerako ne bannamawulire era katumufune.
Abazadde bawoleddwa amagezi okubangula abaana baabwe okwekengera abantu be batamanyi ate ne bamanyi nabo. Si buli omu nti asobola okugenda naye. kivudde kwa alipoota ez'enjawulo ezooleka ng'ekibbabaana bwe kyeyongedde mu ggwanga.
Basomesa naddala okuyamba abaana okubeera n'ennamba ez'emergency oba ennamba ez'amangu ezisobola okubayamba okukuba ku ofiisi oba awaka oba ku mulimu maama gy'akolera, so ennamba zino zirina okuba nga zimanyikiddwa.
N'abaddukanya amasomero basabiddwa okwongera amaanyi mu kukuuma abaana baleme kutulugunyizibwa yadde okukabasanyizibwa.
Abaana ab'obuwala baba bakyaliyo. Tuyigiriza abaana obuteemanyiiza bantu be batamanyi oba ba strangers. Abagwira bwe batyo be batamanyi tekyetaagisa kubeemanyiiza. Twakiraba wano ku ssomero erimu ery'Emmengo, omwana oli yagenda n'ajja n'alaga nti nzize kuno na gundi era n'essomero teryafa nayo. Omwana twamuzuula luvannyuma lwa wiiki singa 2 e Kayunga, omulala naye yabbibwa wano ne tumuzuula e Busia.
Mu mbeera y'emu n'ebyokwerinda mu masomero birina okwongerwamu amaanyi mu kiseera kino ng'abayizi badda ku masomero.
Jjukiza abakulu b'amasomero okukola ennongosereza mu nteekateeka zaabwe ezikwatagana n'ebyokwerinda, kubanga buli mwaka wabeerawo enkyukakyuka, waliwo ebisoomoozo ebipya, oluusi n'engeri amasomero gye gasobola okulwanyisaamu ebigwa bitalaze omuli omuliro, oluusi ekizimbe ku ssomero okugwa n'ebirala. So balina okubeera n'ennongosereza mu ngeri gye bagenda okulwanyisaamu n'okunyweza ebyokwerinda.
Ate Soroti poliisi eri ku muyiggo gw'omusawo w'ekinnansi Simon Opolot ku by'okufa kw'abatabani ba Omar Joseph abadde bagenzeeyo okuyambibwa mu nsonga zaabwe.
The incident itself underscores the health and safety risks of consulting traditional healers and herbalists. This is a suspect who had no license from NACOTHA, which is the National Council of Traditional Healers and Herbalists. So he's wanted on 2 counts of causing death, practicing without a certificate, and also for extortion.
Atera enoonyereza ku nfa y'omuntu omu mu disitulikiti ya Arua agambibwa okubanga yafudde anyumya kaboozi ak'ekikulu mu emu ku loogi z'omu kibuga.
Olw'okuba yalemeddwa okussa obulungi oluvannyuma lw'emisuwa okwegatta. So ebikolwa bino eby'abantu okufa mu kaseera k'okwesanyusa akaboozi ak'ekikulu si kapya nnyo. Abantu batera okufuna obuzibu abamu naddala nga balina obulwadde, ate ebiseera ebimu nga bakozesa eryanyi erisukkiridde omuli ebiragalalagala bwe bityo.
Wiiki ewedde poliisi yafuna emisango 8 egy'okukabasanya abaana, ekiraga nti weetaagawo amaanyi ag'enjawulo mu bazadde n'abakulembeze ku byalo. Dinafka Farida ne Nasiru Bwami.
Tadde wabbali bo abakulira abaliko obulemu b'ennyamivu olw'omuwendo gw'abayizi abagwa ebigezo ku mutendera gwa primary ogweyongera entakera. Bano nga bayita mu kitongole kya Uganda National Association of the Deaf mu kwogerako eri bannamawulire mu Kampala banokoddeyo ebyavudde mu bigezo ebyafulumiziddwa sabbiiti ewedde bye bagamba tebimatiza bulungi. Kati baagala gavumenti ebateekeko essira omuli okwongeza omusaala gw'abasomesa n'ensonga endala era katubirabe.
Lwa sabbiiti eyise ekitongole ky'ebigezo UNEB kyafulumya ebyava mu bigezo ebyatuulibwa ku mutendera gwa primary.
Singular pleasure to release the 2022 primary living examination results.
Abayizi abaliko obulemu be bamu ku baatuula ebigezo bino nga ku bano 263 be bakiggala abaatuula ebigezo, wabula nga ku bano 116 baagwa n'enkoona n'enywa 50 bayitira mu ddala lya 2, 41 mu ddala lya 3, so nga 56 mu ddala lya 4. Omutindo guno ogw'ekibogwe gwe guviiriddeko aba Uganda National Association of the Deaf okwekubira enduulu eri gavumenti okulaba ng'embeera ekyuka.
Kino ekintu esibwa okusosa okubeerawo emyaka ena emabega kize kibaawo era ng'ensonga eno etwenyamiza nnyo era etwaliikiriza kubanga ensonga abaana baffe egenda eddirira.
Basonze ku kiyinza okuba nga kyekivaako kino ne bagamba nti abaana abalina obulemu balina okutandika okusomesebwa mu lulimi lwe bategeera okuviira ddala ku myaka emimpi.
Ensonga y'abaana bakiggala nti abaana abanene bagwa lwa nsonga batandika okuyiga olulimi nga batuusa emyaka nga 7-8 gye bayingira mu P1.
Bagamba n'abategeera ensomesa y'olulimi lw'obubonero batono ddala, so nga n'ensonga y'okukyusakyusa abasomesa bategedde ensomesa y'abayizi nga bano etaataaganya ensoma y'abaliko obulemu.
Abasomesa tebabakyusa nga bwekyusakyusa abasomesa.
Okusinziira ku UNAD, baagala gavumenti esse ku mwanja abasomesa babaliko obulemu nga bwe zeekola ku balala.
Bisokedde abasomesa baffe tebamanyi olulimi olw'obubonero. Emisaala egiwa abasomesa baffe mitono. Ekyokubiri, olulimi lwaffe olw'obubonero olwasengangu tufiiriddwa nnyo. Emyaka 2 emabega egya COVID, gavumenti yalangira okusoma ku TV ne ku radio ne kati abaana abaffe bakiggala tereeza ate nga ffe tulaba tusoma mu kulaba. Tosobola okukiza nti omwana ayinza okusomera ku radio.
Wadde nga tebawakanya kyakukola bigezo byawamu n'abalala okwetoloola eggwanga, kyokka baagala amaanyi gongerwe mu kusomesebwa.
Kuffe nga bakiggala tulowooza tetulinayo kyanjawulo nnyo, tetuba njawulo n'abaana abalala. Naye kyetwalisabye nti singa twereddwa omuwaatwa nga tusobola okuddamu ebibuuzo nga abaana abalala, okugeza nti singa tufuna abavuuluzi oba nga tufuna olulimi lweno olw'obubonero nga tuyingidde P1 ne lugenda mpaka P7, weewaawo tusoma n'abaana abalala, kyalibadde nga kisobola okutuyamba okukola obulungi.
Weewaawo gavumenti ng'eyita mu kitongole ky'ebyenjigiriza n'emizannyo bataddewo pulogulaamu ez'enjawulo, kyokka nti esaanye okufuna abalina obumanyirivu mu nsomesa y'abaliko obulemu.
Ffe tuli beetegefu ng'ekitongole ky'abakiggala kubanga ffe tumanyi tulina obumanyirivu ate obuzaale okuva mu lulimi lweno olw'obubonero nga tusobola okukwatagana ne gavumenti okulaba nga abaana baffe bakiggala ensoma yaabwe yeyongera okuba nga nnungi. Tosobola kugamba mbu nno mugenda kukola ebintu mubikole naye nga mubikoledde ffe, naye nga ffe bakiggala temutwebuuzizzaako.
Nze Ivan Juko.
Webale nnyo Ivan Juko olw'egguliro eryo. Kati olwakaddaku ge tusobodde okukutuusaako wabula yakatweyungako katusooke tukolage ebyo ebibaddemu ebikulu era ng'ebimu ku byo ojja kubisanga mu mawulire ag'Olungereza. Ubc Leero, President Museveni alabudde ab'ekibiina kya UN okweyingiza mu bya Uganda. Ate era bakiggala okugwa ebigezo kiva ku nkola ezitamatiza eziriwo. N'ekibiina kya FDC kironze era okubakwatira bendera mu kulonda kw'esserere. Ne poliisi erabudde abazadde ku kibba baana mu ggwanga. Otukoze bulungi okutambula naffe gye twatandikidde okutuusa akadde kano we tugawunzikidde n'olunaku olulala kola bw'otyo nga ssaawa 1 ey'akawungezi paka amawulire gye tugamalira. Nze Marion Nakitene ne Yusufu Ssenyomo wali ku lulimi olw'obubonero atakuumira mpeera ku nkuumire. Tusinkane nate olundi, weekuume, weeraba.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Sent to transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The money I got from those fish, I used it to educate my son. Kasese, we have a plate of fish.
It is a venture said to be practiced mainly on and around water bodies. In the Western District of Kasese, fish farming is being taken a notch higher. Farmers are embracing the practice on hills, with over 400 ponds scattered in and around the district. But what is the possibility that fish farming could become a life changer in the Western District of Kasese? The name Kasese rings the bell with quite a number of antonyms. On the negative, it is associated with floods, landslides, and other such disasters. But on the positive, it is well known for being hospitable to tourists due to its proximity with mountains of the moon. But there is something new. somewhere at Kinyalisiki village in Buyaga parish of Chondo sub-county.
There is a sunflower.
The passion is there.
And
the zeal is apparent. This is how it starts. It is a process of preparing food for the fish that is reared here. Soya bean and sunflower powders are mixed with silverfish, maize bran and calcium phosphate to produce fish feeds.
It was supported by Fairfolk. First they came here, we rehabilitated ponds. After rehabilitating them, we went into stocking them. After stocking ponds, they have been providing ingredients for feed formulation, and today we have manufactured feeds. From what we have done inside here, we have done the grinding, mixing and pelleting. So finally our final product is that we feed.
It is a brainchild of Buyaga Fishermen Parent Group, bringing together both male and female fish farmers. Ngalibira Droneka is one of them.
Omwabulamu bwa maher nga buti obutsibu kwa bulemi obo tukaba naye bekasiri abam eso sitwa masihiramu tomiramu abekome betano ebisise berekura mukabe muni ebendu ebekasasiriamu twabere tukaba namutwa bana mukabi omwamaetse muri ebikibikeramo yobotaka ebekere nabene bimakwabe kali bwana bwa maher ngoko tukasiramu eso sisiriramu ngoko tulie siramu no kwa musike wacho kukana setimba esyanzoka naso sikasiria.
At this pond is where the processed fish feed ends up. The pond is found just in the middle of the hills in Chondo sub-county. The water here is drawn from River Kaberere using artificial water channels.
Each member is having his individual pond. Me, the one speaking, I have 2 ponds. All of them are stocked.
In a period of less than 10 years, the Buyaga Fish Farmers Group has seen its members grow from 3 to 70 in number. So, as the fish is harvested, the farmers here are all hopeful that their venture is paying off.
Then when this program of the Myoga came in, this group was supported by 2 million, was given 2 million, which supported this group. And this money was lent to the farmers in the form of giving them fingerlings and fish feeds. And we are progressing.
The market is readily available.
When this Operation Wealth Creation came, I also benefited. They gave me some seeds. I stocked my ponds. Then when I sold the fish and the catfish, I had to erect a block house. Now, up to this day, I am plastering my house. From that money I get from the fish.
But this is not where it ends. Post-harvest handling is critical. This is where the modernized fish smoking equipment comes into the picture. Mounted near Mobuku irrigation scheme, it is seen to be a clean fish smoking process compared to the ordinary smoking style.
Smoke, as it has been conventionally used in the traditional fish smoking methods,
comes directly onto the fish. As such, we have seen smoked fish on the market that is covered in soot. But in this case, the smoke is filtered such that what reaches the fish is actually a flavor and not the raw smoke, as it were, that harbors those carcinogenic components that will cause lung cancer and things like that. So in this case, the smoke is filtered, so we are sure that we are delivering to the fish the aroma that is transported through smoke, but well-filtered smoke. This smoking kiln is divided into 3 compartments: a smoke generation unit, the smoking chamber itself, and then the heat generation unit. So in the heat generation unit, we endeavor to control the temperatures that we are working with, because with smoking, we are not cooking, we are not grilling, we are not baking. We are dehydrating the product because we want to reduce the moisture content so that it can have a longer shelf life.
Upon completion, the fish is not just ready for the market, but also for immediate consumption.
We are solving a problem of poor post-harvest handling and short shelf life. We know that with fish, if it is out of the water, it cannot last more than 24 hours fresh. But for the fisher, the fish trader, it gives them a longer window for market, a longer window to do business when you smoke the fish, because you have improved its shelf life from 1 day to about a week or a week and a half, depending on how dry you make the fish during the smoking process.
These initiatives come at a time Kasese district population is recorded to be rising. According to the 2014 Population and Housing Census, the growth rate was 3.1%. The 2002 to 2012 10-year period saw a population growth of up to 540,000 persons, 49.1% of whom were male, while 50.9% were female. With a 2021 population projection of the area put at 810,436 persons, there is need to put this population to good use. This is why aquaculture is being emphasized.
Kasese is known as one of the disaster prone. Every year we experience river flooding. But we should not look at the issue that comes out of the river flooding. Let's look at the other side of the coin. What is it that we can tap from these natural endowments?
Because with fish farming, siting is very, very important. I know that we have sites elsewhere where farmers did it on their own and siting was poor. And then when there were floods or there were heavy rains, there was siltation of the ponds. Actually, some were even swept away. But for this area specifically we're talking about, these ponds have been there for, I think, over 15 years. And there has never been any threat.
This has not come without challenges. The more aquaculture has been embraced, the more fish feeds have become scarce. This has created the need for other alternatives. The black soldier fly is being piloted at National Fisheries Research Institute of National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO.
Investing in fish needs available factory for fish feeds. Everyone who invests in a fish feed sometimes find it very difficult to get the right composition of the feed. So at the end of the day, we end up going again outside to import. And the more you import, the more you incur a lot of costs. So, but even with that, our scientists are trying their best to see that, especially Narrow actually currently has come up with the good feeds. The only problem is the capacity of doing it is still low.
Seen applying his expertise is Ondoro Constantine Chobet, an aquaculture research officer from Regional Fish Fry Center in the Eastern District of Mbale. He's leading research to ensure these black soldier flies give the best fish feeds to fish farmers. The process starts with laying of eggs.
We obtain it from the adult black soldier fly that lays the eggs, and the eggs, after hatching, we introduce them, the hatched larvae, into a mixture of organic material. This organic material are simple raw materials that come from agro-processes. These are food peelings, crushed tubers, grain husks, for example, maize bran, coffee husk, wheat bran, etc.
It is a project for which government earmarked 1 billion Uganda shillings. It was programmed to be released in phases of 3 financial years. About 150 million has so far been released. The next phase is meant for popularization and mindset change.
Because mukene is not easily available due to high competition between human beings and animals. So with the black soldier fly, since it is an animal which is produced at home, it will constantly be available for farmers and all the stakeholders who would wish to use it for animal feed production. So the biggest challenges we are addressing are issues of availability and profitability.
For me, if there is any investor who really wants to invest now in Uganda, should be able to invest in fish feed, which is the current need for Uganda. Because Ugandans cannot be able to feed their fish. You buy the fingerlings, you put the fingerlings there, you have 20,000, 50,000 fingerlings, but feeding them is more than feeding maybe chicken. Or, so that is our challenge.
Fish farmers have relied on imported feeds, while others have processed silverfish. The undertaking is said to be expensive.
Fish farming is the way to go. Every community is excited with the fish farming. Unfortunately, almost 80% of the investment, at the end of the day, what you get, 80% goes to feeds. Fish feed is the biggest obstacle that we're faced with at the moment.
In Kasese, Lake George, Lake Edward and Lake Katwe are some of the other water bodies in and around the area where fishmongering is practiced. The difference in the size of harvests is the reason why domestic farmers are given permits for their premature-looking fish to avoid legal implications.
Currently, production stands at 5 tons annually from aquaculture, with a coverage of an average of 500 to 400 fish ponds, which are actively in operation. In terms of marketing of fish, the law is in place. Fisheries laws do not permit the trade of tilapia fish, which is less than 11 inches. And with ponds or from other aquaculture systems, it takes a lot of time, or the majority of the fish harvested are less than the recommended sizes of fish as per the fish laws. But what we do for our farmers, we ensure that once a farmer plans to harvest and is planning to market his or her fish to a distant market like the regional market in Mbondwe, we are in close coordination with that farmer, and at the time of harvest we ensure that the farmer is cleared through the DFO's office to ensure that his or her products are not intercepted along the way.
These are some of the initiatives whose success would not have been possible without support from government. The Farm Income Enhancement and Forest Conservation Project is currently in its second phase. It aims at improving household income, food security, and climate resilience through sustainable natural resources management and agricultural enterprise development.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello? Hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Set to transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
Deeper conversation.
How many teachers in Uganda did you consult? But there's a mistake we are making. Which is good?
Which is good?
Which is good?
Which is good?
We went to this school, we ran it to Western, we ran it to Northern, we ran it, then you come. Isn't that an achievement?
Objective and non-partisan.
Honorable Minister, there were a number of points. I want to start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night.
So when people are not counting,
don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality. So what I'm saying
that's
is
a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
Tell him you speak Luo.
I think that's where we are beginning to have a problem.
I think what is going to kill the parish model are all the misconceptions on how it's supposed to run.
I know that the Prime Minister is listening.
Behind the headlines.
Charles, let us agree. We liberalized the economy. We are several nations put it together. Why don't you appreciate that? What if it fails? I'm happy and he's a good lawyer because Amin is not in power.
The parish development committee is functional. It is there. That there is a parish chief, that the beneficiaries do.
So we look at expenditure. We don't look at revenue. And that is the challenge we are giving them from Minister of Finance.
Your fountain of new knowledge, flowing into the mass body of knowledge.
First get the knowledge of Bukedia, how they want to be modernized.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
You return money to the treasury, which is meant for the people.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. UBC, inspire.
Next on UBC, brought to you by the My Airtel app, the smart way. Download today on the App Store or the Google Play Store.
A very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. We welcome you to our news tonight. Let's start with a look at the top stories. President Yoweri Museveni lashes out at the United Nations for interfering in matters of sovereign states. Prime Minister Robin Anabanja directs action against negligence on parental responsibility. Uganda government refutes the 2020 UN Human Rights Report allegations on violations, while police warns parents against child theft. Welcome once again to News Tonight. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa. This Monday, the 30th of January 2023, this is what we have for you tonight. President Yoweri Museveni has maintained his position that he will not entertain United Nations interference in matters concerning Uganda's security, revealing that Uganda's security is self-sustaining without any foreign backing. Museveni made the communication at the launch of the 24th Annual Judges Conference in Kampala.
Over 100 justices, judges and registrars are undergoing a 4-day conference to diverse means on how best justice can be delivered to Ugandans. The 24th Annual Judges Conference was officiated by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in Kampala.
Oh, I declare the conference opened.
In his speech, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said, Uganda does not need to depend on the United Nations handout. He revealed that Uganda can move on without foreign financial support.
Because this is the problem of these other countries, the ones which are guarded by the UN, which I consider an insult, to be guarded by the UN as if we are imbeciles. I can't be guarded by the UN. UN will never come here in Uganda to guard us. It's an insult. We can defend ourselves. Money or no money. If you want to challenge me that you, Museveni, you are just talking, I can tell you that I have been leading an army for the last 50 years, from 1971. When you say for Lassa, it was an army, it could kill you. In case you are not sure, this UPDF, you see them, they have no houses. They have not been having houses. They have been staying in these grass huts, what they call Mama India Pore. So, I have been leading an army for the last 50 years, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 10, 50.
Museveni further highlighted the need for Ugandans to be patriotic and to embrace socio-economic transformation for the good of the country.
Number one, prosperity for all, through education for all, but also through production of goods and services. Number two, strategic security for Africa. And number three, these are achievable because the people we are talking about are either similar or linked. But in order to achieve this, we evolved 4 principles. Because if you produce goods and services, the question is, who buys them? If you produce and nobody buys, then you cannot proceed. So that's why we say principle number one is patriotism. You must love Uganda. You must know that Uganda is more important than your tribal groups.
Chief Justice Alfonso Munyidolo appealed for an increase in the judiciary budget for the key aspects, among others the recruitment of judicial officers and establishment of more courts to embrace service delivery.
We intend to decentralize the Inspectorate of Courts, recruitment and deployment of more judicial and non-judicial officers, and providing them with modern and adequate tools of work. We have a fast-rising population. The number of judicial officers serving the people of Uganda must accordingly also rise. Strengthening the Judicial Training Institute to offer up-to-date capacity building and refresher training to the judicial and non-judicial staff. And in all these things, Your Excellency, for us to achieve them, there must be corresponding budgetary provisions.
In response to their plea, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said, with or without money, justice can be prevailed to Ugandans.
So it is just a question of planning, not mixing it up with the ideology. Because if the ideology is no money, no justice, then I don't agree. Because some of the countries don't have money at all. Even they are much worse off than we.
Chief Justice Alfonso Munyidolo assured the Ugandans more service delivery in the year 2023.
You remember we've had conversation about bail. I have issued rules and practice directions about a number of things which you'll read from this presentation, including how the courts of law can handle the issue of bail, balancing the need to keep a suspect away from the public but also this under the greater constitutional provision that until you've been tried under proper due process and you'll be found guilty, you're presumed innocent.
In attendance was the Attorney General Chiriowa Kiwanuka, who represented the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Nobati Mao, who expressed the need to strengthen the DPP's office and the Attorney General's office respectively.
However, there are 102 courts that do not have state attorneys currently, and the backlog is piling. Let us ensure we do not lose the gains of the expanded judiciary. As a government and a ministry, we are committed to work together with the judiciary. We are committed to provide the necessary support to the judiciary deserves to enhance access to justice for all Ugandans.
The function was also graced by the Chief Justice of South Africa, Justices of South Africa and Ghana, Deputy Chief Justice, retired justices, among others. The 24th Annual Judges Conference was held under the theme, the Judiciary Transformation Agenda, Enhanced Access to Justice. Deborah Namamonde, Natongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Government of Uganda has broken silence over allegations of human rights violations raised in the United Nations Human Rights Report of the year 2020 as partly baseless. The UN Human Rights Report had implicated the government of Uganda of being non-compliant on dealing with perpetrators of abuse of human rights against women and lawful detention of people without trial, among other atrocities, often orchestrated by state security actors. The Deputy Attorney General Jackson Kafuzi downplayed the UN Human Rights Report at the Uganda Media Center in Kampala, as we see in detail.
Try to scrutinize people who are corrupt.
Uganda is mandated under the UN Convention of Human Rights to submit a status report on human rights violation and atrocities purportedly committed in her jurisdiction to the UN Human Rights Committee every after 2 years. Speaking at the media briefing, Deputy Attorney General Jackson Kafuzi replied to a number of human rights violations highlighted in the UN Human Rights Report of 2020, despite downplaying some of the counts noted in the report.
Condemned the use of excessive force and directed the force's human rights and legal directorate to ensure that every police officer accused of using excessive force towards civilians is charged in a civil and criminal courts where the evidence is available and establishes the charge.
Penal Code Act and Anti-Terrorism Acts restrict the death penalty to only serious offences. However, whether or not one committed the alleged crime, it's upon the presiding judge to determine.
Presented to you, look at them and make a determination whether this qualifies for the death penalty or you give him a sentence of 60 years or 600 years. So each case is examined based on its facts as they are presented before that judicial officer.
The government of Uganda shut down funding of Democratic Governance Facility to over 1,000 NGOs in Uganda, citing foreign interference in the governance of Uganda using NGOs. The move left many Ugandans jobless. Efforts to streamlining differences between government and DGF have often yielded negative fruits, a matter the Deputy Attorney General expounded on.
Whether DGF or any other non-governmental organization that comes to operate in Uganda, there are rules and regulations to be followed.
Miriam Omcha, UBC News.
Police has sounded a warning on child theft from parents at the commencement of the 2023 academic calendar. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga has released special guidelines parents and guardians have to follow in ensuring child safety.
Last year, detectives investigated 868 child-related cases, constituting 4.5% of the total cases which were reported, compared to the 9,285 in 2020, which accounted for 5.2% decrease. However, on record, police registered 2,500 cases of child theft last year. Despite these intriguing figures, police has appealed to parents to train their children to be conscious towards strangers doing safety during this period of reporting back to school.
Well, it's always important that child safety is observed in schools because children are one of the world's most precious gifts. But in many cases, they lack the skills to protect themselves. So that's why the responsibility falls on parents, educators in schools.
The schools too have been instructed to review students' protection policy to minimize the rate of child abuse.
We want to call upon all head teachers, directing and teaching staff in schools to be aware of the child protection